What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, 2026 Royal Rumble edition. We're going to be breaking down who we think will win both of those matches and the other matches that are on the card. It's not just those matches. There are other things. It is a whole pay-per-view after all. And if you don't know who we are, I'm Tony Mango, joined as always by Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
And Rob D. Felice.
Hello.
And naturally, we always want to know what you have to say, too, because you're a part of this community as well. So make sure that you chime in your thoughts, whatever it is that you are on. Maybe you're hanging out in our Discord channel. If you are, then, hit up that. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hype this video, like it, share, subscribe, ring your notification bell, get your email alerts set up for the post show. Now, we will be doing that, of course, immediately following the Royal Rumble event on Saturday, which, remember, the Royal Rumble is starting early because they're in Saudi Arabia. Boo. And I think the time frame is probably going to be somewhere around like 5 o'clock is when that's going to happen with the post show. They're starting the main, like the actual show. The 2-hour pre-show is pointless. That 2-hour pre-show starts at 12. So the actual pay-per-view starts at 2. You figure an hour plus for each of the Royal Rumble matches, and then a whole litany of commercials and everything. I'm assuming this is going to be like a 4-hour show, and somewhere around that 5 to 6 range or so is when we're going to get into that. And so, stay tuned and chime in, and then we'll break down where we think all this is going to go afterward and stuff. If you want to help support us on the other different platforms that we've got and other different methods, toss a little spare change our way through the super chats and the thanks button and the subscription on YouTube. Click on that join button, add that over there. Same thing as Patreon. Darkcast tier, pick a poison tier, all that good stuff. Make sure you also pick up some Redbubble or TeePublic merchandise if you're interested in something on that end. And also, I have nothing tied into this when it comes to nobody wins anything or whatever monetarily. But if you want to take advantage of the Royal Rumble predictions contest, that is another way for you to have some fun and to just have some bragging rights. We're gonna do a variation of that in our predictions here, but I'll explain how that gets into when we start getting into the matches themselves and all that stuff. So strap yourselves in. We got our usual Royal Rumble breakdown, which is a complicated set of predictions every year. One of my favorite events of the year, if not my favorite event of the year, even though Royal Rumbles are not 100% a guarantee to be great. And we always go back and we watch other events in the past and we go, yeah, that wasn't a great Royal Rumble and whatever. But the concept itself is still just so fun to me. And it's something that I am excited to see no matter what the landscape is, no matter what the negatives are about it being in Riyadh or it being a time frame where I really hate, a lot of things that are happening within WWE, a moral side of things. The Royal Rumble is still the Royal Rumble. It's still my easy, I'm going to enjoy this match type of scenario. And I'm still excited to see what happens with this. I'll say outright, this is one of those years where I don't feel confident in my predictions. And there are many instances in the past where I've been very confident and I've been very wrong. And then there's been those years where I got the first 4 people right in the Royal Rumble. And then I ended up, okay, clearly the final 4 are going to be these 4, and then it is, and whatever. Stepping into this just from a perspective of pay-per-view by itself, I don't think this is a strong build. And I think that all of us could agree on that, right?
I think pay-per-view by itself, this is the weakest build to a Royal Rumble in my lifetime. That sounds like hyperbole, but you have to remember in my lifetime, they really started ramping up the idea of the road to WrestleMania and stuff like that. The build to this year's Royal Rumble includes things such as Roman Reigns is announced via a singular vignette and not one where he's featured talking. It was just a video package that said Riyadh Reigns Rumble. Okay, cool. He's declared. Brock Lesnar just declared today by doing a FaceTime call to Pat McAfee during the Pat McAfee show. I understand it's a different vibe, it's a different era. It's still not the way I'd build to a Royal Rumble. So I would say that this build is very weak.
I mean, I've got little to comment on the build because obviously I'm not watching, so I don't know how good or bad the build is. From what I've seen, like it hasn't really been focused on the Royal Rumble. From other things that I've seen as well, apparently the actual creative and the actual booking has been a lot better than it has been like a year or so. So maybe not focusing on the Royal Rumble has actually been a benefit to them.
I will say that I haven't been watching full shows, but of the bits and pieces that I catch of Raw and SmackDown, I've been enjoying the product and the direction more. Like, for example, I've really enjoyed CM Punk's past month where he's just like defending the title on Raw. It makes the shows feel more special. I've been enjoying that stuff, but build to the Rumble, I think it's very weak. They didn't announce anybody for the Rumble until like last week.
I think that there are some major positives happening in WWE right now that maybe they got a little bit of a wake-up call and decided to actually put a little bit of effort in. But then I feel like they also sort of went, well, if I got to put effort into there, I can't put it into something else. Like I have to take and give and, you know, kind of balance this out because I'm not interested in just actually doing everything better. And that's where something like the Royal Rumble comes in, where I go like, there's a lot of names that aren't going to be in this Royal Rumble. Like this is a stacked roster when it comes to comparing it to like previous years. Like, you know, I mean, I can pinpoint, we could all do the whole like, you know, the extremes of everything, but like we recently watched the 96 Royal Rumble, and that's got a roster where there's a hierarchy of like, here are the 5 people maybe at most that could actually win this. You know, somebody like a Vader and a Shawn Michaels, who obviously does, and Diesel and whatnot. And then there's about 5 people that are like, all right, they're in the mix, but they're not going to win. A Kama or maybe even like a British Bulldog or somebody would be in there. And then the 20 other people on that Royal Rumble are like garbage. You know, like one of them actually is garbage, you know, dumpster Drosy. And like the squat team and stuff. Like we've had Royal Rumbles where it's just like, wow, they are scraping the bottom of the barrel, and they're even bringing bad people from other companies in. And I look at the list of people this year and I'm like, oh shit, that's a list of like 15 people that should be in this Royal Rumble that aren't going to be able to get in there. And like you run down the major players that are in here, that's a pretty stacked Royal Rumble. Yet at the same time, it is just sort of like, man, I remember an era where you wouldn't have had Saturday night's main event before this, and these all would have been combined into one show, and it would have been a better pay-per-view. Not to say that I would rather it be one Royal Rumble and there's no Royal Rumble for the women's match or something. And I get that you have to not have 7 matches on a Royal Rumble pay-per-view because 2 hours are already dedicated to those matches. But like, you know, I feel like you could do better still, and they can still keep improving. And positives on like the regular TV stuff. We'll get into some of that stuff on the hot tags. Obviously, we'll talk about like Alpha Academy winning a title shot and stuff. That doesn't really factor much in here, I don't think. But we will, of course, overlap and talk about some other things too. And I guess one of the things that we should get into first, just because it is on the easier side of breaking things down, is to talk about the, funny enough, this is the easy match to break down, the retirement match that is happening between AJ Styles and Gunther. It's looking more and more likely that AJ Styles is done. And, you know, Shinsuke Nakamura put out his thing. They rushed this like last minute on SmackDown. How about you just do that match, Shinsuke against AJ? And it feels a little bit like that was like the one request of like, that's my real last match in a sense. And, you know, it's 10 years since AJ Styles made his debut in WWE, so there's a little bit of rhyme to go with that. But I still am holding out the tiniest bit of hope that maybe Styles is going to stick around and have some more matches with people like a Javon Evans or, an Obafemi match or somebody. I haven't seen AJ Styles versus Trick Williams. I would like to see, but it's looking more and more like he's just losing to Gunther.
I'm full delusion in that I think the language really switched up on Raw. And I will say again, full delusion here, but the language really switched up on Raw, and it started being like my WWE career, but there's still so many people around the world I want to wrestle that I'm just like, his contract's ending in February. Is he just gonna do 8 months of like going around the world and wrestling in AEW and wrestling the Bucks and doing the Kenny match just to do it? It would be shocking because AJ Styles feels like he's become such a lifer. But if he wants to do things that, like, for example, Cena did, where he faces a lot of his old, like they even said, oh, AJ Styles has made it a point that he wants to face a lot of his old rivals. Okay, cool. Well, a lot of his old rivals are, in AEW. Joe's in AEW. The Bucks are there.
There's like Kazarian tease even popping up for TNA or something.
Even that, where it's like, yeah, he could fight Kazarian. A lot of AJ's contemporaries are just elsewhere. So I'm full delusion, but it's very clear to me that he seems to be losing here because everybody's kind of moving real fast on let's try to get what we can out of him. The Shinsuke Nakamura thing is weird because it straight up says I'm retiring at the Rumble.
Didn't Punk also say something like, man, it sucks that we're going to lose both John Cena and AJ Styles in a month?
Yeah, and he also was like, hey, I hope it's not the end, but if it is, what a wonderful career, and I'm honored to know you. And it's like, okay, like he's wrapping up. Whether he's wrapping up his career completely or he's going to do a little bit outside WWE before he, calls it a day, remains to be seen, but he's wrapping it up. And it might be a lot sooner than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the scenario they positioned was a lose-lose in terms of either AJ Styles will be retiring from WWE or Gunther will lose immediately after retiring John Cena and starting up this big gimmick of being a career ender with the Goldberg match and then with the Cena match, and then just have him lose here just felt, okay, this is dumb. But so it's the better approach to have, as much as we would be disappointed by that, the better outcome long term is to have Gunther win and continue on that gimmick, because then that makes it more important for the next retirement match or any other match they could have with a kind of veteran person about whether that'll be the end of their career or not. So, yeah, I don't read as much into the verbiage of AJ Styles used on Raw, because even if, that's not saying that he would not necessarily continue his career in another promotion moving forward, but would WWE let him say that he's gonna continue wrestling and change the verbiage with a mindset of, oh, he's gonna wrestle somewhere else afterwards, and try and, I think if they did, almost like counterintuitively, the fact that he put those words in his promo makes me feel even more convinced that he's retiring and just never coming back.
The only other example I have of that is they basically let Edge do it. They basically let Edge be like, hey, thanks for 25 years of Edge. I don't know what's next, but stay tuned.
Well,
it felt like that.
The difference, I think, there is just that Edge never said that he was retiring. Like, Edge was just leaving WWE, so of course people knew that, like, if he's not retiring, then he's just going to go somewhere else or do something else. So, whereas this one, there's at least a claim of retirement, and it's like, maybe Styles just said what he said and no one had any knowledge about it, and he just has done it as to plant seeds for if he does want to continue in AEW or go back to New Japan or something of that ilk. But I think that, yeah, I'll say we'll wait and see. I think that the absolute certainty is that Styles is losing and Styles is going to be out of WWE. And they say it's a shame that this is where it's thing, but that was his choice to leave at this point.
And that's like, it's one of those bittersweet scenarios of, hey, I like that this is the end more so than a lot of other methods that could be the way that people wrap up their careers. You know, people have like debilitating injuries, or they, God forbid, like somebody just brought it up about like the Bray Wyatt scenario. It's like Bray Wyatt wrestles LA Knight at the Royal Rumble in a match that's not really all that great, and then dies, and it's like, whoa, wow, okay, shit, there are far, far worse ways to retire than if AJ Styles loses to Gunther and that's the end of it. And if he wants to wrap it up, it's his choice too, to not extend his career into like signing a temporary deal that at least pushes him to WrestleMania or to December or whatever it might be. But I am still disappointed if that's going to be the case, because like I said, it's like, man, I would have wanted to see an AJ Styles versus so many different other people, and we're not going to get that necessarily. So that sucks. But yeah, you don't get to dictate all those things. I am firmly in the camp of, I gotta just be honest and be like, Gunther's winning this match. Like, I can try as much as I can to like figure out maybe there's another way around it. And at first I was thinking, okay, they're not going to go in that direction. They're going to do something where Styles is like, maybe he wins by like a disqualification or something stupid. And it would be like, hey, I didn't really beat Gunther, and this has got me thinking about my retirement or whatever. And then once WWE was like, oh, he's already said that this is going to be the last year and he's retiring or whatever, I'm like, never mind. They killed that whole thing. You can't really be like, this got me thinking I probably should wrap it up soon after you already say you've done that. So I guess Styles is just done, and we'll see if that ends up being the case. But all three of us are going Gunther here, and it shouldn't be a surprise if it goes to Gunther whatsoever. But I will say it would be a surprise if Sami Zayn won the Undisputed WWE Championship. He's going up against Drew McIntyre, and I can't see any scenario where he walks out with the belt. I think that Zayn is in that spot as a viable challenger to McIntyre, who McIntyre can beat in the meantime before setting up that triple threat with Cody and Jacob Fatu. I think Zayn is also there because the crowd will be very, very supportive of Sami, and then very disappointed when he loses to Drew McIntyre, so it'll be a heat thing. And I just, at most, I would give Zayn like a 6% chance of winning. Even that feels a little high to me.
I think he's got a higher chance than 6%.
Let's go 8.
I have said that I would like to see him just win here, because I think WWE's been doing a really cool thing where, you don't know what's happening with the belts instead of it being like a foregone conclusion. But I ultimately, especially with the way Saturday Night's main event went, where McIntyre just beat up Cody and Jacob, that, yeah, I think McIntyre's winning here, and they'll do the triple threat at the Chamber. The only reason I predict that is because Triple H has apparently already said that the Chamber matches will just be to decide the other challengers instead of like one of the Chambers being for the title. I don't know how much stock you can put in that, because he could have just been talking, and maybe creative structure is different. But if that's the case, then I think it'll just be Cody, Jacob, Drew at the Elimination Chamber. But I'd love to see Sami win it here. I just think it'd be cool,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any chance of Sami winning, even if it is based in Saudi Arabia. This is just the classic Triple H philosophy of don't really build someone up at all, then give them a random win, or just say that they're going to fight someone in their, not necessarily hometown in this instance, but like a country that's going to be behind him and very supportive of him in his previous visits there, and they'll just go, oh yeah, he's just there because he'll get a good pop, and then he'll lose because that's good heat for the heel champion that we have. Like, this playbook we've seen this playbook so many other times to the point where I just don't know why people would even think that the alternative is going to happen. It's just so obvious that he's going to that McIntyre's going to retain the title here.
Yeah, it's just
my only defense of that, and again, I do think Drew's winning, but my only defense of that would be everybody thought, well, there's no way Cody's actually losing the title to Drew, and then they did it. So maybe keep a little bit of that momentum going so that we're breaking these patterns that we've seen. Because you're right, 100%, we've seen these patterns, but I'd like to see them break as well.
Yeah, but I also don't want to see into a world where that's now a situation where pretty much every title match. I know it's the idea of every title match should be good to have an idea of the title change could happen, but then I think going from McIntyre to Cody to McIntyre and then to Sami in the space 2 weeks is a case of okay, now that's just pure hot potato stuff, and you're just doing title changes for the sake of it rather than actually having a vision why you're changing it as many times as you are.
I think that this is a good example of this is good booking and also frustrating booking, where we've had instances in the past where the champion going into the Royal Rumble doesn't always 100% retain their title. There have been title changes at the Royal Rumble. It's very rare though. Most of the time, they usually put up somebody who is I don't want to be mean and be a do nothing, go nowhere or whatever, but a patsy, I guess would be a better way to put it. We're going to give, I don't know, The Undertaker is going to walk in as champion and he's going to defend against Mark Henry in a year where it's very clearly, I'm just making shit up because I don't remember what specific examples. In a year where it's very clearly Batista's winning the Royal Rumble, he's going to challenge Undertaker or something. You know what I mean? Where you're just kind of all right, we're killing time. I don't think Bob Holly is going to beat Brock Lesnar, or I don't think that's
a better one.
Yeah, it's an actual example that popped in my head finally.
But I'll give you that example. The title match at the Rumble is Bob Holly, Brock Lesnar. By the time you get to Mania, it's Guerrero and Kurt Angle, or the title match at the Rumble is Kurt Angle, Triple H. By the time you get to Mania, it's Rock and Austin. These things can happen, and I'm not saying I want to see hot potato left and right, but I would be open to the idea of cool. They're trying new things. You're not just set in stone where you're going. Cody's champion, Roman's winning the Rumble. That's it. We're gonna have these title matches as formalities, and don't worry about it because it's Cody versus Roman.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into the. I don't know about the Cody Roman thing 100%, but actually a good example of this was John Cena, AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. The belt changes hands. John Cena loses it at the Elimination Chamber, and it's Orton and Bray Wyatt, right? That was that year,
right?
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously the through line for at least that match is that wasn't a very good WWE Championship match at the Rumble.
And that's that's an example of bad booking where it's just you're doing random shit, even though the names involved are good. It's just kind of bad. And if they would have gone with, say, Damian Priest, I like Damian Priest a lot, and I'm glad that he was a world champion and all this stuff. But if it would have been Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, I don't think that it's as good of a choice, because there would be less people going into that match assuming that Priest would win than the ones that are convincing themselves that Sami's going to win. And Sami being in the Royal Rumble and having that option of maybe he'll win that, I don't think is going to translate as well when there are 7 or 8 other people who also are watch out for that guy, because then it sort of just dilutes it. So I think that it's good booking to put Sami in this spot and allow a little bit more flexibility and some more room and all. It's just a matter of, okay, but it's not going to be Sami Zayn walking into Mania with the belt. So I cynically look past that already and start just going, okay, well, so then what's Drew McIntyre doing for Elimination Chamber? What's Drew McIntyre doing for Mania? That kind of thing.
And to be clear, it's not going to be Drew McIntyre walking into Mania with the belt either.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Callum, do you have any more to say on this match?
Not particularly.
Just real quick, the way I see this is Cody is winning the belt back at Chamber, and then you're setting up Cody Roman. That's the way I see this right now. To be clear, I'd love to be fucking wrong. I'd love for Obafemi to win the Royal Rumble, but like, I think Cody's winning the belt at Chamber, and then you go, haha, we're back to the match that it was going to be to begin with.
Well, we might as well get into the men's Royal Rumble. We'll talk about the women's last, because it does,
funny,
it factors in if you go, Drew McIntyre is retaining. Okay, is he going into Mania or is he losing it beforehand? Oh, is Sami Zayn winning? Okay, whatever. All three of us are just going Drew McIntyre, so we can kind of rule out the Sami Zayn element of it. But the person who wins the Royal Rumble doesn't necessarily challenge for this championship. And then even if they challenge for this championship, as examples have already shown, doesn't mean that they challenge this champion who walks out with this. So the winner of the Royal Rumble could be fighting CM Punk, or they could be fighting McIntyre, or they could be fighting Cody, or they could be fighting Braun Breaker, they could be fighting Roman Reigns, they could be fighting Solo Sikoa for all we fucking know. I highly doubt it, but
yeah, hell yeah, World Tag Team Champion Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, for the way that things work in the world, maybe it's Bravo versus Rayo at WrestleMania. But,
by the way, Bravo Blue, Rayo Red. I learned that on Monday.
It took you long enough. Do you know which one's which? Which one's Pete Dunne and which one's Tyler Bate?
I do. Pete Dunne's in red, right?
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
If you need to remember it, Bate, Blue, Bravo.
Yeah, that's how I got it. I was like, Bravo, Blue, Bate. Go
on. So again, we're not going to break down every single one of our sets of our prediction thing. We're not going to run down what we think the number 1 to 30 will be. I have my 1 to 30 filled out for right now. I haven't filled out the actual form yet because I'm waiting to do that on Friday. But the other elements we are going to talk about here. So at this moment, and this is another thing that I want to get into when it comes to like how like kind of weird this Royal Rumble build has been. They have in the past announced anywhere between almost nobody for the Royal Rumble, or I forget which year it was, but the one year where they announced literally everybody. I think it was maybe COVID.
They did that a lot in the early 2000s.
That they announced all 30?
Yeah, when we were growing up, to my favorite example is like the 2007 one, where literally there were no surprises. The story was, look at how fucking stacked the roster is. It's the most star-studded Rumble of all time. Yeah. Here's all 30.
I remember vividly, at least definitively 2003 and 2004, all 30 people were announced for those ones as well. I think 2002 it was everyone except Mr. Perfect.
No, there was 4. It was Perfect, Godfather, Goldust, and Velveeta.
Okay. All right, so they went with a bit more surprise one, but yeah, definitely 2003 and 2004 were like had everyone announced, so it's not an uncommon thing to do. Yeah. At least
because by the way, it became a surprise fest starting in like 2008, right? Where it really became like
it was the Piper and Snooker ones that and Cena's return that really kind of went them over the edge of like, oh, we shouldn't be announcing who's coming.
Yeah, I mean, oh my god, like we need to have like 5 or 10 surprises every year, which truthfully, after having watched all the Rumble matches this year, I think it hurts it. I think to a certain extent, the Rumble has become too dependent on like, no, but there's got to be these big shock surprises and things. It's like, or it could just be a good Royal Rumble.
I'm 50-50 on it.
Well, you end up with a scenario where if you are so dependent on the surprises, then like when your know your Austin Theories or other people like Dragon Lee's coming to the Royal Rumble, then you just go, it's one of those guys that has no
It's
chance
just the
of
guy on
winning
the
and stuff.
roster.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm 50-50 on it, because like the time stretch that you guys were talking about, that 2002 to 2006 type of range or whatever, when I wasn't watching, like that very much is a different era that I just entirely skipped out on, and like I wish I would have been watching at that time. But previously the Royal Rumble used to be, for me, growing up in like that golden era, new gen, and early Attitude era side of things, the Royal Rumble wasn't a surprise. It was very much, we've got a limited enough roster now. You know that Mosh and Thrasher are probably going to both be in it. You know that Tom Brandy's probably going to be in it, whatever. But holy shit, Foley's in there more than once. That's kind of crazy. And then even prior years to that, it was sort of like I can't remember. That's the thing. I wish I could remember the build going into the 97 Royal Rumble, for instance. But I do remember being like, okay, my focus as like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, is I only really give a shit about Bret Hart, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Diesel, not Diesel, because it was fake Diesel at the time, Vader, Mankind, the group of people that I knew, and like, okay, Hunter Hearst Helmsley's going to be in this or whatever. I don't think he's going to win, et cetera, et cetera. But that's Stone Cold, man. I'm really watching out for that Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then when a guy like an Aldo Montoya pops up, I'm like, oh shit, that's right. He's on the roster. Who fucking cares? And I think that they're better off if they only are mostly having people on the roster, they're better off announcing them ahead of time. And they've announced 15 so far that are confirmed, which leaves the half of the field. And I'm hoping that they actually announce the vast majority of them, and the only ones that they keep a secret are the actual secrets. And I'll spoil one thing. I don't think we're getting any real surprises this year. I think that when I looked at the roster and the people that aren't even in their the match yet, people who haven't been declared yet are just for example, some of these names: Trick Williams, Damian Priest, Randy Orton.
He's in there.
Carmelo Hayes, The Miz,
Yeah.
Dragunov, Rusev.
Where the fuck is
Rusev? And it's like Rusev might not be in the match. Maybe he's injured or something. I don't know. I don't think so. But like, you're gonna get Randy Orton in the match. You're gonna get The Miz in the match, et cetera, et cetera. That fills up all the 15 spots. And they specifically even said, and yeah, you can't hold WWE to their own logic. They change the rules all the time and stuff. But they went out of their way to have a moment on Raw where Adam Pearce said to Finn Balor, tough shit, dude. I already filled up the Royal Rumble. There aren't any spots left. You can't be in it. And Finn Balor not being in the Royal Rumble is like, wow, not even Finn Balor is going to be in it. They've been pushing him lately. A guy like a Dominic Mysterio might not be in it because he's injured, and that makes sense. Finn Balor just wrestled for the world title, and he's not even going to be in the Royal Rumble? Kind of weird. They've done things in the past where people have been attacked and then they get replaced by somebody. Kira Tozawa was replaced for an I Show Speed. Saudi Arabia could be like, we want this person to come in there, and then they find a spot for them and they just tell somebody like a Shinsuke Nakamura, sorry, you're not in it.
Sorry, Yokozuna took your place, pal.
Right, yeah, it could be something like that. Or it's like, well, we've got this boxer who wants to be in there for a moment, or this celebrity wants to do some weird shit, or maybe they want to bring in somebody from a TNA. I don't think that's happening this year. Maybe they want to put it in a guy from AAA, like a Mr. Iguana. I don't have that on the list for me.
Well, it being in Saudi does make it feel like like the TNA names might be a little out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a Joe Hendry's probably in there.
I have him in there.
Here's one that you'll only hear out of my mouth because it's stupid, but I'm just gonna be honest. I think there's a possibility Undertaker wrestles in his number 30. I don't think he'll win, obviously, but like I think, hey, would you like a massive payday to be number 30 in the Rumble? I'll take the money. I think it's one of those situations.
Well, let's get into some of those what ifs, and I'll say some of the ones that are off the top of my head that I know people are circulating around, and then if you guys have any other ideas, obviously toss them out there. Yay or nay, is Chris Jericho in this match?
I'm feeling more like nay every day.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the fact that he's not been taken off the roster page for AEW.
Yeah, well, no, everybody's just going to
suggest a no for now.
Everybody's going to refresh that roster page the entire time.
Friday night, it'll be the thing. Yeah.
Refresh.
Yeah, that's the main thing for me that's pointing towards that because they've, Ricky Starks leaves and they switch him off the roster that day.
And they took him right away.
Yeah, and if he's on the roster page, then that makes me think that, okay, he's still technically under contract. He's not gone yet. I do still think Jericho's coming to WWE. I think he might be there by WrestleMania, but he also has a Fozzy tour, and that's like somewhere in February, so maybe they're just waiting until like post-Mania or something like that. Thumbs down to Jericho as far as politics, by the way. Don't want to give a platform to those things. Yay or nay, does Seth Rollins return?
Yep. Yeah. I'm full yes.
Now, is he in the match?
I'm full yes.
I don't see why not. Like, he wouldn't need to do any sort of like major spots if he's going to be in the Rumble. Then it could just be a very simple Front Breakers clean house. Rollins' music hits. He just hits a few punches on him and then clotheslines both of them out of the Rumble. So it doesn't need to be that much if he's not 100% ready to get back in the ring.
If he's in the match, that's basically what I expect him to do, and that could be like a 3/4 of the way through type spot, or he could even be a surprise number 30, I think. Number 30 is throwing me off a lot. I've got like 7 people that I'm like, oh, that person could be number 30.
Right. My Hail Mary, as I just said, is I think they're going to get Undertaker to do it. Just to be like, ooh, Undertaker's in there. Ooh. But, I think...
That's the reaction. They got shot in the gut or something.
Well, at this point, that's how he's gonna sound when he's walking down the fucking ramp that they choose to do it. Yeah, but I think Jericho is a possibility. I think Rollins is a good possibility. We know Brock is in the match, and we know he ain't gonna be out there for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Brock is currently my number 30.
He could be a number 30.
Because I'm like, all right, Brock's a name that they can put out at number 30 and people won't be like, boo, it's Dragon Lee. Or, okay, so that's where El Grande Americano comes in. Or, you know what I mean? Like, they got to have a big name for number 30. That's where you get into like, it's at an Obafemi, it's at a Randy Orton, it's at where Roman Reigns comes in because Roman's not going to be there the whole time. Roman's towards the end for sure. He's phoning it in all the time now. Or is that where you give like a Gunther or a Rollins or whatever?
Well, we know Gunther's in regardless of if he beats AJ or not.
Yeah. I don't think that Gunther is going to get as big of a spotlight as a lot of people think, though. I think that Gunther is getting that like, I retire AJ Styles, so then I go into this match and I start doing something or whatever, and then somebody, whether it's Brock or it's whoever he's going to potentially work with at Mania, I think that they take him out. Or, it could just be something as like unceremonious as like Gunther is doing his thing and then somebody like a Roman takes him out. I don't think Gunther's winning.
God, Callum.
I was going to say, I think they could do something with Gunther where like he comes into the Rumble after retiring AJ Styles, he's super cocky and confident about it, and he gets eliminated in a few seconds.
You know, that would be just like WWE to do that.
The right person has to do it, though.
Yeah, it would have to be someone that he's gonna have to be. It would have to be the WrestleMania opponent that does it.
It'd have to be like a Lesnar or a Roman, but it has to be somebody who can realistically do it, and then send Gunther over the edge.
Another alternative that they could do, if he retires AJ Styles, and if they want to tell the story of like people are pissed at him for being such a jerk about all of this, he comes into the Royal Rumble and everybody stops and everybody's like, yo, fuck that guy, and they gang up on him and take him out.
Would be an interesting setup. I don't know if people. You could always tie it into the Cena stuff as well, because I don't know if people are like, man, that AJ Styles, how dare you? But I do think people felt that way about Cena. As of now, though, I think Gunther's a possibility for Final Four.
He's in the like running for the Final Four for me. I don't have him in my Final Four though. I have him in that like I could be wrong and Gunther could be in there kind of range. He's like my B tier Final Four.
He's like number 6 of the 4.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's. I'll spoil it. Like, my Final Four I've got are Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Braun Breaker, and Brock Lesnar, and I don't feel confident in that. So I'm like, all right, well, you know, realistically, it could be, you know, Obafemi could be in there, or you know, whoever.
I'll say this: my Final Four are Braun, Cody, Roman, and Dream would be Obafemi, but it's probably like Rollins. It's probably the 3 people they always push, and since Punk can't be in there this year, it'll be Rollins because he's not the one with the belt.
We can come back to your Final Four column if you want.
I don't have a Final Four.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm even going to say a winner.
Some other yay or nays. Is Rey Mysterio going to be in it, or is he going to be pulled?
I'm thinking he pulled something based on the Raw match, so I don't think he's going to be in it.
Have we gotten any kind of confirmation about what that injury was?
I have no idea. I haven't been looking that hard.
It's hard to say when because he's announced, and I think if there's any hope that he can compete, then they'll put him in there because he's like a big name for that crowd. So yeah, I don't see it as unless he is absolutely just can't wrestle, then they'll put him in, even if he's only in there for a little while.
Yay or nay, is this going to be a scenario where Finn Balor gets into the Royal Rumble by either attacking somebody or like, you know, maybe like Rey is pulled and they go like, yeah, okay, go out there, Finn.
So we didn't talk about this. We usually start these podcasts by saying, what matches do you think are going to be added? I'm surprised we haven't heard Punk just going to fight Finn Balor, because I thought the whole reason they did that on Raw was to add Punk to the show because it's Saudi and they want their stars. If we don't get that, I think it'll be, hey, you couldn't get in because Dom took your spot.
Do we know if Dom is cleared?
We don't, but I feel like that's a good way to start planting the seeds.
That could be a really good way of doing it. I currently don't have Dom on my list because of the injury, but he is on the poster for it.
Yeah, I think Mania is Dom and Finn, and I think that's just a good way to plant the seeds.
I definitely think it's Dom and Finn at Mania. Yeah. Yay or nay, are we getting any other returns like you know, from injuries and stuff? The main one that pops in my mind is LA Knight.
He probably is in there.
Is his return worth doing that? I don't know. I don't think so.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant it like.
Well, I mean, like if he's like still recovering, or it's like a quick, like if he's 100%, then yeah, put him in just for the fun of it. But he's not. There's no chance of him winning if he's not 100%. Then why would you risk doing that?
Like, well, is he actually injured, or did they just pull him from TV? I thought he was just kind of off TV.
That's what I thought. I thought that he was just sort of, that they said that they were like taking a break to like refresh him or something.
Okay, if he's not injured, then that's another story. But yeah, either way, he's not going to be much of a needle mover in it. So I don't know if there's necessarily much point unless you've got a plan to do something with him in it.
I have him currently as like an early surprise, as you know, not necessarily somebody who will be like you know, like, oh my god, this guy's like such a game changer and he's going to be like winning this whole match and stuff. But as somebody that I could picture them putting in a spot of like maybe he's number 5 or so, and it's like, oh, okay, LA Knight's back, like cool, we got LA Knight in the mix now. And then like later on when you get into a lot of the other bigger names, you've already kind of forgotten about the LA Knight thing, unfortunately. I can't think of a single celebrity or anybody that would be like, you know, an outsider, you know, a different company or, you know, big surprise or whatever.
Jake Paul.
Isn't he still wearing a fake beard because he got his jaw fucked up and he's got he has like the ego that needs to make him wear a lace beard?
Who are you to doubt the realness of Jake Paul's beard?
I'm somebody with a better head on.
I just think if it's in Saudi that they'll put somebody in there that's like outside of the mainstream of wrestling. They'll find someone to put into it.
Pat McAfee.
I mean, could be, for all I know.
Well, people know Pat McAfee outside of America. Like, no one in the UK knows who Pat McAfee is.
I didn't know who Pat McAfee was for a very long time, and I missed those days.
Yeah, I didn't know until he started to show up as the commentator and all in WWE. Even when he was on the pre-show panel for NXT, I was like, oh, it's one of those guys. Okay, well, who cares?
So we haven't mentioned this name yet. That Fahid Tuwak.
I was gonna bring him up next. Whatever.
He's gonna fight. He's gonna fucking eliminate at least 2 people. Rayo and Bravo Americano are getting thrown out behind this guy just because he's an actual like Saudi. What did he? He's the first Saudi super heavyweight WWE superstar. Is that how they framed him last night?
Did they? Like, you can't say the first Saudi star because they signed other people that went nowhere.
You got Mansoor, but fuck Mansoor. He's a skinny nothing. This guy's a super heavyweight.
I don't think that guy's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
I think he's in the Royal Rumble. I think he's 100% in the Royal Rumble.
I hope he's not.
Mansoor beat Claudio Castagnoli. For no reason other than they're in Saudi. They're putting this guy in the Rumble.
I mean, that was during an era where they were like, we're going to dedicate a specific match for those things. We have like the greatest whatever and the biggest whatever. They haven't been doing that quite as much lately.
Yeah, they've only got 14 months to build this guy for Saudi Mania next year, pal.
That's true. I mean, he's going to be a Mania next year unless he gets fired ahead of time or something. Yeah. And maybe he'll win the Andre or something. I don't know. But yeah or nay, are we getting Royce Keys?
No.
No, he's going to NXT. So
I think he'll help Ricky Starks win the NXT title back.
You got the same exact point of view that I've got. I think he's popping up on February 3rd's NXT. Yeah.
That's lame if they just pair him back up with Ricky Sainz. Like even lamer than his name.
I don't know about the lamer than his name.
Well, his name is, he's naming himself after his kid. A lot of these wrestlers seem to do that, so I'm laying off the name. The reason I think they're doing that is because Saints is a heel, and like, first of all, the entire field of that ladder match is like a bunch of new random guys, and I just think it's a good, give him a heater. It just so happens that they did work together in AEW.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody's got to offset Keanu Carver, you know.
Yeah.
Again, we'll talk about that on our predictions when we get into the hot tags for next week for the NXT side of things. But
that's a guy which was in this match. He's fun. I like his presentation. That Keanu Carver.
I like him. Do you think we're getting any NXT people?
Yes. JC Jane.
Oh, for the men's.
I think.
We're going to talk about the women's
Well,
later.
yeah, for the men's. Yeah, I think so. I think Joe Hendry apparently still counts as an NXT person.
Isn't the whole story that they're doing NXT is that Joe Hendry's may not be able to compete in the ladder match?
No, he's competing. It's a 7-man ladder match now.
Yeah, I thought that the thing was going out that it was like it's the 7-man if Joe Hendry is.
But then he came out and
they did a really stupid thing. What they did was they had announced Jackson Drake against Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was attacked, obviously by the Vanity Project, but then Ava said, well, I can't technically prove it, so you're given a spot in the match for Jackson Drake. And then if he gets cleared, Joe Hendry will also be in the match, as opposed to it just being like, well, then then you two will have to fight. And then by the end of the show, Joe Hendry was out there and the graphic had already had him on it. So it was like, you realized you wanted to have both in the match, and you didn't want to figure out another way around it.
We need a 7-man ladder match. I'll give him credit for it being 7 pretty new guys, but like 7-man ladder match.
Yeah. I currently have Joe Hendry listed on my Royal Rumble thing, but I am very much considering replacing him with Seth Rollins, because I don't have Rollins on there right now. I also thought that Rollins has a chance of showing up but not being in the match and just being one of those guys that runs in and costs Braun Breaker. But
if we go off of the greatest Royal Rumble for reference, and that they just like big guys, Jasper Troy is a pretty big guy.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
They got a lot of big guys going on there right now.
They do not have Balatunde this time around.
This time around they don't. But I mean, like, you never know who is going to be in the match and who isn't. They could throw an Ethan Page in there. They could put a Mike Santana from TNA in there. They could put somebody like, maybe they go and they bring in people for the women's division. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But that's the list of the people that I have as far as like who could be surprises and interesting things. Is there anybody else you guys can think of that are like worth?
As I'm looking through the roster, I'm going to say Shawn Spears comes in at number 10.
I don't think that many NXT people are going to be, or any NXT people are going to be in it, because like you're already having to pay a lot of travel expenses, and you probably just want to take the bare minimum of people over that you possibly can. So why would you bother taking some NXT people over? As I say, it's a different. You got to think of it in a different context to a US or Canada based Royal Rumble show. It's like there's a lot of travel involved in this one.
Mm-hmm. And they usually do have alternates in the back just in case something happens, where it'll be like Shotzi was like an alternate or whoever. So they might bring.
That's why I think like Shawn Spears would be a good alternate, because hey, you're a veteran, you've been here before, you're coming. Like, you know what I mean?
That's why I kind of think that the alternates this year are just going to be the people that aren't in the match that are on the main roster, and that they'll bring them over and pay for them to come over and book them in like media things and stuff. So if we see anybody like, say, an Otis or I don't know, maybe.
Boy, you like, only chose to shit on Otis. That's terrible.
Johnny Gargano. Like, I don't think Gargano is in this. As much as I love Johnny Gargano, I don't think he's in this match. Or Fraxium. Or I don't think a single member of the Wyatts is going to be in this.
I thought about the Wyatts, because like this would be a great place to get like them all in a match, and you could like it could be believable. I think they could do it because it fills a lot of spots easier. And like Callum said, they're on the roster, so just pay for them to go over.
But you've got multiple big factions already. So you're gonna if you're gonna put all of the White Six in it, I mean you're also gonna put all of the MFTs into it as well. You're gonna put all of the
No, they refused to let Tongaloa wrestle.
But like you've got obviously Judgment Day have got injuries, so that would prevent that from happening. But
well, I mean Hikuleo is probably gonna be in here because he's big.
I don't think so.
Yeah, this is the one spot you use him.
I think like when I was filling out my 30, I was like, oh, there's so many people that I can't add in there, like a Finn Balor. I don't have on there right now Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Seth Rollins, any of the other members of the MFTs, any of the Wyatts, Johnny Gargano, Fraxium, anybody from NXT. I don't have any Alpha Academy or American Made. I don't have Jimmy Uso in here. I don't have.
I think that's fair given the way things have been for Jimmy Uso lately.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people. So if you start throwing in like a JC Mateo that they don't really care about, then you got to take out an Ilya Dragunov. Or
where's Phoenix?
I don't have Phoenix in here either. Yeah, they don't seem to like Phoenix.
I literally meant, where is he? Like,
he popped
Dragon
up on.
Lee's been getting more love than Phoenix.
Phoenix was in a really shitty spot on SmackDown. They had him approach Trick Williams backstage and go, "Hey, I'm still mad at you. I haven't forgotten about what you did." And Trick went, "Okay, maybe I'll talk about it another time if I can still remember that you're here."
Oh no, what did he do?
That was very much like, okay, well, fuck you.
What
nobody.
Did Phoenix do? Like,
Phoenix must have pissed somebody off or something, because man, since he's been in WWE, it's been very much like they do not like Phoenix anywhere near as much as they like Penta. I mean, Penta had a whole episode dedicated to him on the Unreal thing about like, oh man, we love Penta. Penta's great. And they're like, yeah, Phoenix is there. They're geneting the fuck out of Phoenix when it comes to the Lucha Bros.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I don't have Phoenix on the list, but you know, I do have somebody that I do think will get a spotlight, or at the very least, he absolutely should get a spotlight. And if they don't, they're fucking things up, and they're purposely not pushing somebody, and that's Kit Wilson. He is my pick for the shortest time for the men.
I'm curious to see how over that theme song is going to be in Saudi.
They've honestly not been doing a good job with capitalizing on it. If you think about what he did the one thing with Cardona where he had he beat Cardona up and then the music kept playing, but they've mostly had him in backstage segments where he's not done anything with the music. It's been like 4 or 5 weeks and he's only had the music played like twice.
I'm curious to see how that goes.
I'm expecting Kit Wilson to come out there and to be the comedic spot where he complains about the toxic masculinity of the Royal Rumble and then he gets eliminated immediately. And then complains more about like that's toxic or whatever. So he's my shortest time. My longest time, Iron Man or whatever, I think it's going to be Cody. I'll spoil my number 1 to 30 type in some ways. I think that they're going to start this Royal Rumble with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. And that way they can get the full everybody does the whole Jey Uso yeet bullshit. And they do it one more time, and then you get the full Cody entrance, and they do the whole thing where they're like, wow, last year's Royal Rumble winner, and the guy who won the previous 2 Royal Rumbles, and they're former tag champs together, and they're friends, and they both want to win, and I am firmly going Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes are starting this Royal Rumble.
You know what? That's the most logical thing I've ever heard you lay out. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually.
Now they're going to end up starting it off and it's going to be fucking Bronson Reed and Logan Paul or something. I'm going to be like, well, shit. Okay, what do you do? It'll be like that weird Royal Rumble where they started off with the 2 members of Demolition. But yeah, I'm going Jey and Cody. And then I think because Cody will end up lasting until the end, I think he ends up being the Iron Man more so than Jey.
Yeah, Cody being the Iron Man sounds right. I can't think of anyone announced that could replace him. Maybe if they really feel strongly about Theory, maybe you try to test him in that way. Javon Evans could be a lot of fun, but I don't think he'll be the Iron Man. So Cody sounds about right.
Javon strikes me as a roughly number 12 entry that can come in there and be fun, but not really do all that much. I'm glad he's going to be in this, though. Thought that he was injured, so. Any most eliminations type of person? I currently have Obafemi down.
If it's not Obafemi, we've done this wrong. if it's not Obafemi, then don't even debut him at the Rumble.
I think this is going to be one of those years where multiple people tie. And it'll be like Obafemi gets 3 and Roman Reigns gets 3 and Gunther gets 3 and Cody gets 3.
Braun Breaker gets 3. And
right. Like this is, we've had years in the past where it's like, oh, that person got 11. And it's very clearly that person's the most elimination guy. And then we've had plenty where it's like, you just all shifted around. 5 people got 2 eliminations. Any of those stand out to you about Iron Man or eliminations or whatever on that front, Callum?
Again, you're lucky that I'm just naming a winner. So that's I don't know, Braun Breaker and
Division.
I don't know. Braun Breaker for most eliminations, and I guess Cody for Iron Man.
Ultimately, it does come down to who is going to win. And man, I don't know. It could be, and I hope it's not. It could be that Roman wins and it's, Roman and Cody at Mania, and I'm just going to be annoyed about that.
Are you like...
Yeah, I don't want to see that match.
I would say get over it now, because I think it's coming down to Roman and Cody as the final 2. And then Roman's going to get the win.
I would rather it even be Drew and Jacob and Cody at Mania, even though I don't want it to be, than for it to be Cody and Roman. I do not want Cody and Roman at Mania.
What do you want to see Roman Reigns do?
Ideally, with the roster and the way that they've set up the things that they've done, I would probably put Roman against Obafemi and have Obafemi beat Roman.
If he's not fighting for a championship, the only thing I see him doing, honestly, is fighting Gunther, because Roman's contract is up after Mania. I don't know. To be clear, I think they're signing him. I just think they're going to sign him to do a lot less than ever before. But his contract is supposedly up very shortly after WrestleMania.
Is it possible for him to do less than he's currently doing?
He's like, you can't even use my picture in the graphic now.
That's the thing that scares me, because you would assume he's doing less, but how much less can he do?
I mean, the only way you could do less is if WWE start making appearances in Roman Reigns' life. Dead.
They bring the cameras around him.
Yeah. He's
just like hanging out on his couch watching football, and they're like, can we make content out of this?
I've whittled it down to 3 potential winners. I think Roman and Cody are like 2 of the favourites, and the other one's Brock. Because essentially those are the 3 that I think are going to be in the world title matches, along with CM Punk. So,
man,
it makes sense that one of those 3 would win.
See, and this is a little bit of where we differ, Tony, because I would take Cody versus Roman any day over Brock being the second person to win 3 Royal Rumbles when he's been checked out for the better part of the last decade.
I don't think Brock's winning.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, can you imagine? That would
I would be so pissed about that.
Terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
Given the 2 options, if you said you had to pick between those 2, I'd rather it be Roman than Brock. But yeah, to me, Brock is being set up as a guy that's going to fight either an Obafemi or a Gunther. And yeah, he'll have a good showing. He'll eliminate some people. He'll probably be towards the end or whatever. But I don't think he's even going to be like the second to last eliminated. I think he's either in the final 4 or he's eliminated prior to the final 4 by like an
Brock
Obafemi
is
type.
Typically eliminated before the final 4 if he's not winning. Remember, Brock was once eliminated by the Wyatt family.
He's kind of all over the place in some. Yeah. I do kind of go like, all right, Roman could win, Cody could win, Braun Breaker could win, but I don't think he will. I expect Braun is either fighting Rollins at Mania or it's a triple threat and Punk is involved.
I'm
And
thinking he's fighting Rollins.
it's probably just him against Rollins. And it's probably Punk against either Brock or... Well, let's put it this way. If it's not Punk against Brock or Punk against Logan Paul for some reason at Mania, then I think you're getting the triple threat. There's nobody else that makes sense to me. It's not going to be like Punk against Austin Theory. It's not going to be Punk against LA Knight, you know. But Punk being in Chicago, the Elimination Chamber, everything that goes around with that, I sort of expect it to be... I would be kind of shocked if Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble. And I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I would be kind of shocked. Ultimately, I'm going to say I think that there's more of a chance that Cody wins the Royal Rumble than there is Braun Breaker does. But I'm hesitantly and disappointingly saying Roman probably wins.
Roman is winning because he's the best option at this stage for the whole who he can face. He can have a stare down with Punk. He can have a stare down with Drew. He could have a stare down with Sami if Sami won. And it would all make sense because Roman has interacted with these people so damn much. He could have a stare off with Jacob. You know what I mean? Like, he's the only guy who makes sense. Right? Even if it was Braun on the world title side, that's still, you know, the Vision, and that's still Paul Heyman's guy.
Yeah,
So-
I think my favorite is Roman will win because I just think it makes, as Rob says, it makes the most sense. Even if it is boring, it's like, yeah, he's back and he's going to be available for it. He's going to be in a big match in Mania. He might as well win the Rumble. He's my first favorite. Second favorite is Brock. Third favorite Cody. So
By the way, Roman Reigns has never won a Royal Rumble with a crowd cheering. You got a chance for that in Saudi Arabia. Because he hasn't won the Rumble in 11 years. Like, it's not... I know it feels like, God damn it, but it's not the most recent thing ever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, I'm not in favor of the idea of Roman Reigns winning. And, you know, every once in a while they throw us a curveball. I didn't think that Jey Uso would win last year. I didn't think that Bayley was going to win in 2024 necessarily. So,
You know what, though? I think winners like Jey Uso have kind of hurt the overall Rumble to a degree because now everybody's just like, well, I don't know, why can't, you know, give me a name here. Why can't Dragon Lee win the Royal Rumble? Anyone should be able to win the Royal Rumble. And I don't necessarily love that. I like the Rumble being, you know, for the top guys.
there should be a mix. You should have, I mean, you shouldn't give lower card talent. Yeah, you shouldn't be like, hey, Ivar won the Royal Rumble. And it's like, really? Out of nowhere? Ivar? I like Ivar, but like, what the fuck? Versus if it's something like, okay, we're finally going to push this guy that's been a mid-card champion into the, like, you know, in the future, Carmelo Hayes should be able to win a Royal Rumble. Now we got the women to talk about, though. The women. And that is, you know, a lot of the same kind of discussion. But hey, a funny enough thing here, they announced a little bit more of the women than they have for the men. They have 17 of them confirmed at the moment. And a few that have been hinted at, but not 100% confirmed in a weird way. Like Kairi Sane keeps saying she's going to do whatever she can to make sure that Asuka wins the Royal Rumble, but they haven't confirmed Kairi. And, you know, you would assume Kiana James is probably in it, but she's not confirmed. You would assume that Alba Fire would be in it unless they don't have enough spots to go around. She's not confirmed. Candice LeRae is not confirmed. Ivy Nile isn't. Natalya hasn't been confirmed yet. Even though Becky Lynch was like, well, she's going to have to win the Royal Rumble. By the way, I thought it was funny. Somebody complained about my Raw coverage. I was like, "Oh, Natty's reinventing herself for the 50th time, as if it's going to really push this time, or whatever." And they were like, "Oh, it's not. Why are you being so rude or whatever?" Like Natty, this is the most that she's ever reinvented herself. I'm like, yeah, I asked that. Tell that to the boat and the Divas of Doom and the Dungeon Dolls and the what. And like it's the same shit all the time. Natty's not winning this fucking Royal Rumble, guys. For the
I mean, you didn't have to just, shit all over that, but okay.
She's not winning the fucking Royal Rumble.
She's not winning the Royal Rumble. I just don't know why you had to frame it like that.
Yeah, that's because people get in their heads. They do the whole stan shit where they're just kind of like, well, I'm a really big fan of that person, so I'm going to delude myself into whatever. I like fucking, I'm a fan of, like I said, like a good Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano's not winning the fucking Royal Rumble this year. I would love it if they pushed him to a spot to be the next Daniel Bryan. They're not. So it's like, all right, well, Natty should have won the women's IC title. She didn't. But yay or nay is on these like surprises and stuff. Every year it's always brought up. Is Trish Stratton going to be there? I say no.
Yeah, why not?
I think there's a chance.
Yeah.
With the women, there is usually more of a feels like an inclination or imperative to put some like classical or like divas in it or previous era women in it because they didn't have an opportunity to do it the first time around.
I think with it being Saudi, there's less of a chance we're going to get any legends.
But both Trisha and Lita have wrestled in Saudi instead of having matches in the States. So
that's true.
I think it's possible.
Did we get a return of Tiffany Stratton? I say yay.
Yeah, probably.
What about?
Sure, why not?
What about AJ Lee?
Yeah, she'll eliminate Becky.
That's what I think too.
So that's the only one that I'm kind of like, maybe just because of the Saudi thing. Does she want to go to Saudi? She's not Punk.
She'll suck that blood money dick as well, so don't worry about it.
Do you guys think Nikki Bella is in it?
Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Oh, she like is already over there?
She's in Saudi, yes.
Okay, well, yeah. I had her down as like a pretty much guarantee, but now it makes it even more so if she already is. Any NXT people? I've got 3 on mine. Or 3.
JC's probably there.
I don't have JC.
I'm trying to think of like who could. Maybe Lola?
I mostly have Lola Vice, Sol Ruka, and then either Jada Parker or Blake Monroe.
Yeah, I'd say Lola, JC, and Sol Ruka. And maybe Zarya if Sol Ruka's coming.
Funny enough, I don't think they would bother with Zarya. They really just keep making Zarya look like a loser.
They can't put both Sol Ruka and Zarya out there, they'll get arrested.
So it's going over my head.
I believe that's a lesbian joke.
No, Rob reads the room at least. That's good.
I'm sitting there going, "Wait, is there?" And I'm like,
the same reason they couldn't put Kit Wilson and Elton Prince into it for Elton Prince.
Well, but they can't put them in at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, but that would also mean that Riho's probably not going to be together.
Yeah. I mean, with the NXT thing, if it's not Kendall Gray, I mean, I'm not interested. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that statement.
I still don't see why everybody went fucking crazy over Kendall Gray.
That's just great.
I don't see anything to be like, oh my god, this woman is somebody that everybody thought was like nothing in NXT to she's in Evolve and now she's the greatest thing that's ever happened. I'm like, wow.
To be fair, I saw it in Level Up too. I stay consistent at least.
And I never watched any of that stuff, so this like only the last couple of months, it's the first time I've seen her and went, yeah, she's better than probably most of the women on the main roster. Let's just get her up already.
We got yay or nay on is Bianca Belair gonna return?
Look, man, I have her as my winner. If she's not there, then this was a hell of a finger injury, and I don't know what's up.
I'll spoil it too. She's down as my winner too.
She's my winner. It could also, if it's not her, then I think it's just Rhea again. Because like, what are we doing?
I think if it's not Bianca, it's Liv.
It's one of those instances where, like, if she is able to compete, that she's obviously going to win. But it's just all down to how severe that injury has been and whether she has been able to recover from it. It's quite there's no real inkling. There's not been any real hints. People just expecting her to be in it and to win it because, well, she can't be. They just can't assume that she'll be out for over a year with an injury,
with a finger injury.
When you could be out if there's complications and there's other issues.
I mean, she definitely could be, but it got to the point where I was like, okay, they're saving her for the Rumble in my head. So like, if they're not, then look. By the way, if they're not, then maybe Jordynne Grace wins and just challenges Jade Cargill. Because if Bianca's not here, then I don't think she's at Mania.
That's kind of the way that I look at it too. Like, Bianca either has been saved for this to be like, okay, you can come back at the Royal Rumble, and then that way you can win, and you can be, Jade Cargill's challenger for WrestleMania. Then that way, technically speaking, even though this is like shitty, and this is not how they should run the company, this is just the reality of the situation. They could be like, you don't have to do much in the Royal Rumble. And then since we're booking you against Jade for Mania, you can spend the next 2 months essentially not doing anything. Because we could just be like, well, we'll hold off on that because we know that you're going to get a Mania. So we could do a video package 1 week, and then we could do a promo 1 week, and then we could do a vignette 1 week, and then you could have a backstage interview 1 week. And it's just like, okay, so we get like 3 months worth of Belair still doesn't have to do anything, and she can still recuperate some more. It's kind of my conspiracy theory of the whole thing. Go in there, eliminate a couple people, and then rest up for the next couple months until Mania. But I have her down as one of my final four. I have Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, and Liv Morgan. I don't have Jordynne Grace in my final four. I don't think Jordynne Grace is going to get, funny enough, any spotlight. I don't think she's going to be the Iron Woman. I don't think she's going to get the most eliminations. I don't think she's going to score any particularly impressive eliminations. She might be like, maybe she takes out Nia, and they go with the whole like, wow, look how strong Jordynne Grace is. She took out Nia. But I think that they're going to prove again that Jordynne Grace to them is like, she's a built concept that we don't want to run with, and we can half-ass it and we could phone it in over and over and over and over again. And nah, she's fine. And then eventually when she doesn't have the momentum, they're going to be like, yeah, that didn't work out, did it? And it'll be like, well, it's fucking follows that. But I do think if Belair's not in here, I think Liv Morgan wins. And it's just like Liv Morgan goes up against Stephanie Vaquero at WrestleMania.
Again, no. Like, that's just not what they're doing, because they're probably, it's Rhea and Stephanie.
I think they like the Rio pairing too much. I think Rhea and Io are going into Mania with the tag titles.
That's why it's going to be a triple threat. They like that Rio pairing too much. I don't know. I think it'll be Bianca. If it's not Bianca, I think. Let's see. Rhea's already won a Rumble, so maybe Io. Or like Morgan. Morgan should be in the discussion because she's been runner-up forever. So it'd be cool to see her win it. I think they're probably gonna do something with Rhea and Io and that world title.
Here's the question. Who has the stupidest looking gear? Because we're going to have to, all 30 women are going to have to wear this silly little, you can't show your fucking elbows kind of bullshit.
It's going to be somebody, and I don't know who, but it'll be somebody who doesn't have actual gear, and like Lash Legend just put on a shirt.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Lash Legend. I think that they're going to do something for her, but I
They
have the same
custom gear for
idea.
this.
Yeah. I think everybody except for maybe one or two are going to end up having some kind of custom gear. Yeah.
Or maybe like by default, if there is like a Lita, it's Lita, you know?
A couple of people that stand out to me that I could imagine that they're not going to put a whole lot of effort into giving an actual like good set of gear to, because let's be honest, nobody is going to look as impressive as if they could just wear their normal gear and be treated like an actual, human being.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley in all leather would probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but
let's be clear. I want to flip this conversation. Rhea's gonna have great gear because she always does. Kyrie in EO and Asuka had great gear last time they were in Saudi.
There are people that are going to have good gear if they've put the effort into it, and that's where I was going to get into was somebody like a Rhea is going to be able to pull it off.
Liv Morgan will likely break out the Britney Spears "Oops, I Did It Again" look, which looks fantastic on her every time. So like, there's going to be a few women here who look fantastic.
Tiffany Stratton's probably going to have something decent, but
it'll
then
be like some all pink Barbie mech suit or something.
Like Alba Fire will end up just wearing the business suit, and like that's fine. That's if it's her gimmick. But then like, I can't imagine they're going to spend time and effort and money into like a good outfit for Ivy Nile if she's in it. You know. Like I could see an Ivy Nile coming out there wearing an American made t-shirt and a black undershirt long sleeve and like regular leggings and just being like, that's all right, that's good enough.
I can see Chelsea Green wearing a bodysuit of full Chelsea Green images.
That'd be good.
Yeah, like I think we've come a long way from Natty versus Lacey Evans. You know, for better or worse, these matches are just part of the show now. They're over there. And they've gotten very creative with the gear, so I'm actually looking forward to it.
Iron Man, Iron Woman, most eliminations, shortest time types of things. I've got Alba Fire, if she's in the match, probably will be the shortest time, just not necessarily as like a featured spot, but somebody by default is going to have the lowest time. Like it's just, it is what it is. Somebody is going to last less long. And
I always think that that's Chelsea's spot though.
They could give her like a comedic spot and do something like that. Yeah. I think that they'll not do that this year with Chelsea since she's gotten a little bit more prominence. I think she'll be in there a little bit longer, but there have been weird years where it's been like somebody like say like a Lyra Valkyria or somebody would be like a pick on some years where it's like, but you like that one and you're going to go with that one out of all the options. And like, oh, this guy is like actually a mid-card champion, like an MVP or somebody. It'll be like, that's the one you went with the quickest. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. I think Candice has a chance to be a very quick elimination too, if she's in it, because they could just be like, all right, number 22 is Candice, and she's there as like one of the people that gets put in right before who's a big name, right before like a Bianca, and then Bianca comes in and she eliminates 3 people, and one of them is Candice. Like, we can fill the ring up so that this person can toss them out.
Won't be as weird as Nia's group eliminations last year. You remember that? She just like eliminated 8 women at once.
Yes, yeah, they do some weird stuff.
One of the worst spots in Royal Rumble history.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most people remember that.
I think the Iron Woman is going to be Io. I think she's starting it off with Asuka.
I could see them. I could see them starting off with Rio, and just be like, "Oh, but Rio won from number 1 that time," and just they go the distance. But
I can go the distance.
It's like, look,
it's the second time this year it's popped up.
And it's not Michael McDonald. I don't know why you do that.
That's Michael Bolton.
But yeah, I could see it being Rio. And that's another thing, just as a side, having watched all these Rumbles from like the early years, we put so much thought into like number 1 and number 2, and they rarely ever did. And I just think that it's such a funny thing now that it's like number 1, number 2 are almost as big as like number 30 or who wins.
It used to go, we'll just fucking do whatever.
We'll do whatever. It's the roster. Deal with it. Like,
and then they got into a point where it would be like, I think it'd be fun if we start off with Dolph Ziggler versus so and so. You know, most eliminations I've got Liv Morgan down. I think that she's going to be one of those nuisance types of eliminators where it's like Liv and Roxanne and Raquel gang up on people and it like boosts the numbers of Morgan, and then Morgan also gets like 1 or 2 just by herself. But I mean, they could very easily just be like, all right, Rhea eliminates 9 people or some shit, you know?
Yeah, I think it'll be, if it's anybody, I think it'll be like a Rhea.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe either Rhea or Raquel as most eliminations.
Yeah, Raquel's in the middle of a push, and I think it's about time.
In terms of like things like shortest time, I think shortest time it'll be AJ Lee. She'll be just in there to eliminate Becky, and then that'll be it.
She's my number 30 right now.
And then in terms of Iron Woman, I think you're always hard pressed to bet against Bayley in that sort of situation. Bayley tends to be someone who sticks around a lot in these matches.
Maybe Lyra this year.
The only reason I don't have Bayley down as my Iron Woman or Lyra, funny enough, and I might change this when we get into the whole thing on Friday or so. Maybe I'll change it in the meantime, but to spoil what I've currently got down, I have Io and Asuka starting, and then Julia, and then Bayley, and then Lyra, and then Kiana. In my mind, I'm thinking they put Bayley and Lyra in the beginning section, and they get eliminated somewhere in like the late teens or so, whereas Io probably lasts until like final 7, and then, you know, just by default she kind of lasts longer than they do. But they're rock solid options. They could very easily be the Iron Woman. I'd be shocked if it's like, you know, you put in like a Lash Legend early enough and she lasts the whole time. Like, I don't think that's happening. But yeah, I'm ultimately going, as far as my winner, I am taking that little bit of that plunge and thinking that Bianca Belair comes back and she wins.
Yeah, Bianca's winning. If it's not Bianca, then I'll say Rhea.
Yeah, I'd say like Bianca, if she's healthy, will win. If she doesn't win, then I'm going for Charlotte
as the Cargill challenger.
Yep. Yeah, because if it's
time
not Bianca,
woman?
then someone else needs to be. Yeah, someone else needs to be the challenger, and it seems like they're setting up a Charlotte. Well, I think that they just would go with a Charlotte match with her. Like, kind of all my choices are pretty much on the SmackDown side of things. Either Bianca, and then after that Charlotte, and after that's Tiffany.
Man, I really hope it's not Tiffany.
I really hope it's not Tiffany.
But I think there's a good chance it would be Tiffany out of all the options, because, you know, they haven't done the rematch yet between them.
The rematch of the rematch of the rematch of the rematch.
Yeah, well, but this would be the first rematch after she lost to Jade, so
right,
it's different, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, plenty of things could change in the meantime when it comes down to the Royal Rumble. We will be recording the hot tags on Friday before, or actually, no, wait, Friday is going to be, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh, wait, SmackDown's on early.
SmackDown's early. So, by the time we record, what time is SmackDown on Friday?
I don't know.
Ooh, let me double check. What time is SmackDown on this Friday internationally? Because for everybody that's curious, it's going to be in Saudi Arabia, so they're going to do that ahead of time. It's technically going to air at 8 p.m. in the United States, but it'll be on a tape delay or whatever. So it is going to be at noon, according to SC Scoops, at least.
Oh well, I mean, we can do the hot tags at normal time then.
Yeah, then I think that we'll probably, if it is at noon, I'm just double checking. Another place says noon. Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like it's noon. If that's from noon to 3, then we'll do the hot tags afterward, and we'll actually have a little bit more, knowledge of like who the last people are for that and stuff. If that ends up not being the case, we end up doing the hot tags in a different scenario or whatever like that, then obviously we'll just, it is what it is. But I expect there to be mostly nothing happening on SmackDown outside of confirming some other people, where it's just, it's just sort of like, all right, well, Carmelo Hayes is confirmed and Miz is confirmed and so on and so forth. I don't think we're going to get any like, oh no, and then this means that so-and-so's injured and they're out of the match or any kind of crazy things. But whatever fashion it is, we'll be around, if it's the hot tags with the 3 of us or just me or something, and we will address anything when it comes down to it. Live coverage of the Royal Rumble on smarkonmoment.com, the wrestling news, and the Ring Report. Post show immediately following the Royal Rumble on Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, whenever that ends. And fill out that predictions contest, and that's going to loop into the fantasy league and some different things like that. So stay tuned to figure out who was right, who was wrong, and the statistics and stuff that I'll eventually run as well. But anything else in the meantime, you will find that all on smarkonmoment.com and all the other kind of things you can find on the link tree at amangotree.com. So just browse there and you'll see a list of everything for Smark on Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, and A Mango Tees. And or a Mango Tree and a Mango Tees. I'm looking at that thing right now. Follow me all over those places, and you can follow Rob and Callum too.
Yeah, you can follow me ever at Dude Felice. You can check out my work on Insider Gaming, including all things related to WWE 2K26 and my most recent review of Earth Must Die, a fun point-and-click adventure. So check all that stuff out. I always appreciate the support, and I now give you to Callum Wiggins.
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Wigmaster14. Check out the Power Rankings every Saturday, so this one will be out before the Royal Rumble, to see how I'm ranking the WWE Superstars based on their previous week's performances. And you can check out the Fantasy League, which will obviously be greatly affected by the results of the Royal Rumble, and the winners will score a big heap of points to help their teams as we move towards WrestleMania and the end of this season.
Okay, everybody, you know what to do. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're following. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure that you get your email alerts set up, and make sure that you stay tuned and check out the hot tags and everything else coming your way. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.